Welcome to the channel, everybody. Today we're diving deep into the world of Nasruddin, the ultimate king of comedic wisdom. This dude's got stories for days, and trust me, they're not your average bedtime fables. Think of him like the OG Aesop, but with a donkey and way better punchlines. We're talking 8 Tales of Nasruddin and his trusty sidekick, a donkey who's probably seen more than its fair share of shenanigans. Get ready to laugh, learn, and maybe question everything you thought you knew about donkeys, because these stories are about to get wild. So, picture this. It's a scorching hot day in the marketplace and everyone's sweating through their robes. Nasruddin rolls up with his donkey, just chilling in the shade of a giant palm tree. Now, Nasruddin, he's a businessman, always looking for an opportunity. He sees these people desperate for a break from the sun and gets an idea. He sets up a little sign that says, "Rest in the shadow of my magnificent donkey, 1 dirham." People are like, this dude's lost it. Who pays for shade? But here's the thing about Nasruddin, he's got a way with words. He starts talking about the donkey's noble lineage, how its shadow is blessed by the gods. And suddenly people are lining up. One by one they hand over their dirhams just to sit in the donkey's shadow. Word gets around and soon Nasruddin's raking it in. Now you might be thinking that's kind of messed up, right? But hold on, there's a lesson here. See, Nasruddin wasn't just selling shade, he was selling an experience, a story. He understood the power of perception, how we value things based on how they're presented. The people in the marketplace, they weren't just paying for shade, they were paying for the relief, the novelty, the whole darn package. Nasruddin was a master at playing the game, and he did it with a donkey and a whole lot of shade, literally. All right, story time. So Nasruddin's walking home one evening with his donkey, minding their own business, when suddenly, bam! A group of bandits jumps out from the bushes. They're big, they're mean, and they're definitely not there to talk about donkey grooming tips. They demand Nasruddin's money, his possessions, and of course, his precious donkey. Now Nasruddin, he's a clever guy, but he's not exactly built for hand-to-hoof combat, so he does what any rational person in his position would do. He stalls. He strikes up a conversation with the bandits, complimenting their masks, asking about their day, casual bandit chat. The bandits are confused, but they're also kind of amused by this quirky dude and his donkey. Nasruddin seizes the moment and points to the donkey's tail. This, my friends, he says, is no ordinary tail. This is a magical tail, capable of granting wishes. The bandits, they're skeptical, obviously, but Nasruddin, he's got an answer for everything. He whips out a pair of scissors and confidently snips off the donkey's tail. "Behold," he exclaims, "the tail is now yours, but be warned, its magic works only once a year." He throws the tail at the bandits, who are now thoroughly baffled. Before they can even process what just happened, Nasruddin hops onto his tailless donkey and makes a run for it. The bandits are left standing there, holding a donkey tail and feeling like they just got played by a master. Now get this. Nasruddin's reputation for wit and wisdom, it had spread far and wide. One day a scholar arrives in town, all pompous and self-important. He's heard the tales of Nasruddin and his wise donkey and scoffs at the idea. How can a mere animal possess wisdom? He scoffs to anyone who will listen. Determined to expose Nasruddin as a fraud, the scholar challenges him to a public debate. The topic, the meaning of life, no less. People gather in the town square, buzzing with anticipation. The scholar, dressed in his finest robes, paces back and forth, quoting ancient texts and using words no one understands. Nasruddin, on the other hand, sits calmly beside his donkey, seemingly unfazed by the whole ordeal. The scholar finishes his long-winded speech and turns to Nasruddin, a smug look on his face. "Well, Nasruddin," he says, "what wisdom does your donkey have to offer in response to my profound insights?" The crowd leans in, eager to see how Nasruddin will weasel his way out of this one. Without missing a beat, Nasruddin turns to his donkey and asks, "My dear friend, what is the meaning of life?" The donkey looks at the scholar, then back at Nasruddin, and lets out a loud, resounding bray. The crowd erupts in laughter. The scholar is speechless, his face turning a lovely shade of crimson. He storms off, humiliated, while Nasruddin and his donkey share a knowing look. See, sometimes the wisest answer is no answer at all, or maybe, just maybe, the donkey really knew something we didn't. All right, picture this. Nasruddin's donkey, let's be real, wasn't winning any beauty contests. Scruffy, a bit on the bony side, your average donkey, basically. One day, this wealthy merchant rolls into town boasting about his prize-winning Arabian horse. This horse, it was like the Beyoncé of the equine world. Sleek, shiny, and dripping with jewels. The merchant, he wouldn't shut up about it, parading it around town like it was made of solid gold. Nasruddin, he's watching all this unfold, and you know he's got a plan brewing. The next day, Nasruddin shows up in the marketplace with his donkey. But this is no ordinary donkey. This donkey's got a makeover, people. Nasruddin's painted stripes on its legs, glued a fake mane made of goat hair, and even fashioned a makeshift hump out of pillows. He's calling it a rare Bukharan zebra camel, and people are buying it, literally. They're crowding around, marveling at this exotic creature. The merchant sees this and nearly chokes on his dates. He rushes over, sputtering about how it's a fake, a common donkey in disguise. Nasruddin just smiles and says, "My dear merchant, you claim to be a judge of fine creatures, yet you fail to see the obvious. This is clearly a Bukharan zebra camel, a creature so rare it puts your horse to shame." The crowd murmurs in agreement. The merchant, defeated and fuming, retreats back to his stable, his precious horse suddenly looking a whole lot less impressive. Okay, time for a story about bravery donkey style. Nasruddin and his donkey, they're traveling through a dense forest, the kind where the trees whisper secrets and the shadows hold their breath. Suddenly, a ferocious roar echoes through the woods, stopping them dead in their tracks. A tiger, and not just any tiger, this thing's like the Mike Tyson of tigers, steps into the clearing, eyes locked on Nasruddin and his donkey like they're a walking buffet. Now Nasruddin, he's all about wit and wisdom, but facing down a hungry tiger? Not exactly in his skill set. He freezes, but the donkey does something unexpected. It rears back on its hind legs, lets out the most ear-splitting bray you've ever heard, and starts stomping its hooves like it's trying to start an earthquake. The tiger, taken aback by this sudden outburst of donkey fury, actually hesitates. It's never seen a donkey act like this before, and frankly, it's a little unnerved. Nasruddin, seeing his chance, scrambles onto the donkey's back and they hightail it out of there, the donkey's braying echoing through the trees. They don't stop running until they're miles away, the tiger far behind them. From that day forward, Nasruddin never underestimated his donkey again. He learned that courage can come from the most unexpected places, even from a donkey who'd rather eat hay than fight tigers. All right, gather around for a tale about patience or the lack thereof. One day, Nasruddin's donkey, being the independent soul it was, decided to take a little detour. Problem was, this detour led straight into Nasruddin's neighbor's well. Now, this wasn't just any well, it was deep. It was dark, and it echoed with the sound of the neighbor's complaints about his missing buckets. Nasruddin arrives at the scene, sees his donkey at the bottom of the well, and lets out a sigh that could wilt a sunflower. The neighbor, predictably, is not thrilled. He's yelling about property damage, the price of donkeys these days, and the fact that he's thirsty. And his well is currently occupied by a very confused animal. Nasruddin, being the resourceful guy he is, gathers the villagers. "Friends," he announces, "we have a situation, but despair not, for I have a solution." He points to the well. "We shall bury the donkey." The villagers are like, what? But Nasruddin, he's got that persuasive glint in his eye. They start shoveling dirt into the well, the donkey at the bottom looking increasingly concerned. But here's the thing. As the dirt piles up, the donkey does something smart. It shakes the dirt off its back and steps on top of it. The dirt level rises and the donkey rises with it. Pretty soon, the donkey walks right out of the well, dusts itself off, and looks at Nasruddin like, "Seriously? That was your plan?" Okay, get this. Nasruddin's donkey, after years of carrying heavy loads pulling carts and generally being the unsung hero of Nasruddin's adventures, decided enough was enough. I deserve a break, the donkey thought, a vacation, a spa day something. But how do you tell that to a guy who doesn't speak donkey? The donkey needed a plan, and luckily for him, donkeys are excellent planners. One morning, Nasruddin's getting ready for their daily routine when he notices something's off. The donkey's lying on its side, hooves in the air, eyes closed, and it's making the most pathetic wheezing sounds. Nasruddin's worried. He checks the donkey's temperature, normal, listens to its chest, no congestion, even waves a handful of hay under its nose, no reaction. The donkey's committed to this performance. See, it's going full Meryl Streep on this sick donkey role. Nasruddin's beside himself. He calls the veterinarian, a grumpy old guy who charges by the minute and loves to throw around fancy medical terms. The vet examines the donkey, pokes it, prods it, and finally turns to Nasruddin with a grave look. "Well, my friend," he says, "your donkey has a severe case of boredom." Nasruddin's like, "Boredom? You're telling me this donkey's staged an elaborate illness because it's bored?" The vet nods sagely. "Donkeys are sensitive creatures, you know. They need stimulation, enrichment, maybe a nice carrot puzzle." Nasruddin looks at his donkey, who's trying really hard to keep its eyes closed. He sighs, grabs a brush and starts grooming the donkey. "All right, drama queen, you win. We'll take a break today, but tomorrow it's back to work." Okay, last story, and trust me, this one's a classic. So Nasruddin's had a good year, business is booming, and he's feeling generous. He decides to throw a feast, a massive celebration with enough food to feed a small army, which, considering his donkey's appetite, isn't that far off. He invites everyone, friends, neighbors, that guy who always borrows his gardening tools and forgets to return them. The day of the feast arrives and the entire village is there, dressed in their finest clothes, ready to eat, drink, and dance the night away. Now Nasruddin, he loves a good party, but he also loves a good lesson. As everyone's digging into the mountains of food, he stands up and makes an announcement. "My friends," he says, "I owe my success to my most loyal companion, my confidant, my business partner, my donkey." Everyone turns to look at the donkey, who's munching on a patch of grass in the corner, completely oblivious to the attention. Nasruddin claps his hands together, and so he declares, "I've prepared a special feast just for my beloved donkey." Two servants carry out a giant platter piled high with grass. Not just any grass, mind you, the finest, greenest, most delicious grass in the entire village, but still it's grass. The crowd erupts in laughter. The donkey looks up from its snack, sees the platter of grass, and then looks at Nasruddin like, "Seriously, that's my reward?" Nasruddin just smiles and shrugs. What can I say? The donkey has simple tastes. See, sometimes the greatest reward is the one that makes you laugh, even if it's at your own expense. So, there you have it. 8 tales of Nasruddin and his donkey that prove laughter and wisdom go together like hummus and pita. From shady business deals to donkey disguises, these stories are a reminder that sometimes the best way to deal with life's absurdities is to embrace them, laugh at them, and maybe learn a thing or two along the way. If you enjoyed these stories as much as we did, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to share the wisdom and the laughs with your friends. Until next time, keep it real, keep it funny, and remember, life's too short to be a boring donkey.